young people to add our voice towards advocating for the passing of the Tobacco Control Bill. This is to promote the health of the present and future generation. I therefore implore all young people out there to join us even as we advocate for the passing of the Tobacco Control Bill.
As a young person, I am directly affected by the effects of tobacco. So I stand here today advocating that the Tobacco Control Bill should be passed, and it has to be passed now. We've been waiting for 15 years and we don't want to wait anymore.
The Tobacco Control Bill, among its objectives, aims to control and regulate the usage and consumption of tobacco in the country. However, it remains a bill after 15 years in a seemingly fight between health and commercial interests. For Camnet TV News, Afias Kaptula, Lusaka.
House of Chiefs Chairperson Dr. Chief Chisunka has called on traditional leaders in the country to adopt laws that guard against substance use in order to save society from associated mental health disorders. Speaking on the sidelines of the African Union High-Level Forum, which was held in Lusaka on addressing substance use and related mental health disorders among youths, women and children, Chief Chisunka says traditional leaders should begin to enforce laws as a lasting solution to resolving substance abuse-related challenges. And an organization based in Kenya, Slum Child Foundation Executive Director George Odalo says the launch of the African Civil Society Forum on Drugs will help combat the vice across the continent. Meanwhile, Mental Health Users Network of Zambia Executive Director Sylvester Katotonka has challenged the Zambian government to adopt and work towards the actualization of the policies that guard against substance use.
According to the World Drug Report, about 60 million people, equivalent to 8.4% of the population aged 15 to 64 years, are estimated to have used illicit drugs in Africa since 2018. By 2030, it is projected that Africa will experience an increase in people using drugs. While this may threaten the health, socio-economic well-being and security of people at continental level, Chief Chisunka of Luapula Province has advised traditional leaders in the country to adopt laws that guard against substance use as a prevention mechanism towards eliminating mental health challenges and protect societies. Dr. Chisunka notes the involvement of traditional leaders in mental health issues should be prioritized if positive results are to be recorded.
Go in the field and cultivate, because what we don't want to see is to see hunger in our communities, in the villages. So that's our policies. And also we have the policy that after 20 hours, after 22 hours, all bars, all shabins in the communities, they have to be crossed. So since we have this policy, alcohol policy, now we press that will be helping us traditional leaders now to work with the government of the day to call, to see to it that our people, our youth, not even youths, in fact even the elder people, do not abuse the
substance use and mental related issues are universal. As such, an organization based in Kenya, Slum Child Foundation Executive Director George Odalo hopes Africa will adopt the existing laws at continental level on drugs to combat the vice across the continent.
To ensure that the voices of the grassroots people, or the voices of the African civil society, are incorporated in any other international treaty or document that the African Union develops. It also gives a platform for best exchanges of best practices. So if someone is doing something workable in another part of Africa, they are free to exchange it with others who are working in a different part, so that they are able to get the best.
Meanwhile, for Mental Health Users Network of Zambia Executive Director Sylvester Katontoka, he hopes the Zambian government will adopt and work towards the actualization of the policies that guard against substance use. Mr. Katontoka worries that the projected increase in use of drugs by 2030 calls for implementation of policies at national level.
We are designing the measures that are coming out of this summit are very sustainable. All what we need is implementation, and in fact we are even including new youths come on board and do the evaluation of the intervention we are putting in place.
The high-level session was observed under the theme Securing a Better Future for Youth, Women and children, building momentum towards Africa we want. Nelson Zulu for Camnet News, Lusaka.
The Catholic Church says it is unacceptable for government to continue giving tax holidays to the mining sector when their contribution to the national treasury remains low, while life has become expensive for ordinary Zambian citizens. Speaking in a pastoral later Friday, ZCCB Vice President Charles Kasonde said government should increase its stake in mining companies and activities to promote local ownership. Bishop Kasonde has also bemoaned the failure by the police to grant opposition political parties to assemble freely, a move which depicts growing undemocratic tendencies in the country.
To generate increased public revenue for alleviating poverty and investing in social programs, we urge the government to review mining concessions and the tax holidays given to multinational corporations. Mining is the mainstay of Zambia's economy, and it is unacceptable that the industry continues to contribute far less to the national treasury than it should. Due to increasing use of technology, mining employs significantly lower numbers of people today than it did in earlier decades. As a result, the most assured way of driving maximum benefits from this vital industry is through effective tax and shareholding policies such as those implemented in Botswana, Chile, and other countries rich in mineral resources. We urge the government to increase its stake in mining companies in relation to shareholding and actively promote local ownership.
New Heritage Party leader Chishala Kateka has advised government to come up with a law that will compel exporters to bank their money in the country as a way to stabilize the kwacha's performance against major convertible currencies. Ms. Kateka says the excuse that there is no productivity in the country, hence leading to the depreciation of the local currency, is unjustifiable in that the country has huge quantities of minerals whose earnings are being banking in other countries. In recent days, the Zambian kwacha has continued losing value against the United States dollar, which is now buying at 22 kwacha, 58 ngwe.
In recent days, the Zambian kwacha has been steadily losing value against major convertible currencies such as the United States dollar. This is amid the already biting cost of living and government putting in place several measures. On November 3rd this year, for example, the Bank of Zambia revised the statutory reserve ratio from 11.5% to 14.5% as a way to relieve the persistent foreign exchange pressure on the local currency. However, New Heritage Party leader Chishala Kateka says the move taken by the central bank will further choke the already struggling kwacha.
A few days ago, you saw the Bank of Zambia announce that the statutory reserve ratio is going to be increased from 11.5 to 14.5. That's 3%. That's very high. The effect of what they have done is that this is a contractionary measure that they've taken. It's going to contract the economy. So what they have done is even take more kwacha out of the economy. So you are taking more kwacha out of an economy that's already struggling with availability of kwacha.
The opposition leader has therefore advised government to come up with a law that will compel exporters to bank their money in the country as one solution to stabilize the kwacha's performance against major convertible currencies.
We are so careless with our money. When the mines, for example, sell their copper outside of the country, they keep their money outside of Zambia. we do make the money, can we make sure, pass laws, pass some regulation so that compel these people to bring back those dollars? Because just having those dollars here, even in the overnight banking system, will make a big difference for the Zambian people. We have the dollars. It's very, very important for the government to compel all exporters to first bring their money to Zambia, then spend their money from Zambia. It will be in their accounts, but here in Zambia.
As at close of business Friday, November 10th, 2023, the United States dollar was selling at around 23 kwacha 5 ngwe. Vincent Piri for Camnet TV News, Lusaka.
Governance and Development Advocates Zambia GDSZ has backed the suspension of 17 opposition and independent members of parliament. GDSZ Executive Director Elias Mulenga says the Speaker's decision to suspend erring members of the House was necessitated in the interest of protecting the integrity of Parliament, etiquettes, and to uphold democratic principles. Mr. Mulenga notes that the current state of Parliament debates lacks merit and does not represent the will of the people, thereby abrogating the order lines in the House. On Tuesday, November 7th, Speaker of the National Assembly, Nelly Muti, suspended 17 Patriotic Front and independent members of Parliament for breach of parliamentary conduct in last week's disruption of parliamentary business.
Currently, 17 Patriotic Front and independent members of Parliament are serving their suspension from the House, some of whom for as long as 37 days. On Tuesday, November 7th, 2023, Speaker of the National Assembly, Nelly Muti, suspended 17 PF and independent members of Parliament for breach of parliamentary conduct in last week's disruption of parliamentary business.
Suspend from the House. I now put the question. The question is that the House suspends Mr. C.C. Kangombe, MP, and the 16 members of Parliament that participated in the protest in the chamber on Wednesday, 1st November 2023, for a period of 30 days.
The punishment on the honorables has received condemnation from some section of the society, especially those who sympathize with the affected party. But Governance and Development Advocates Zambia has backed the decision taken by the Speaker.
The Speaker did it within the confines of the law, because we have noted in the recent past that the debates that are taking place in Parliament does not represent the will of the people that sent these members of Parliament to Parliament, because they lack merit. We have an issue in this nation which is involving a certain political party, but then it is a matter that has gone to Parliament. Matters of politics in political parties are not a subject of Parliament.
GDSZ Executive Director Elias Mulenga has since called on the women in the country and women-based organizations to voice out and defend Ms. Muti, who he says has refused to be used by selfish individuals who want to tarnish the image of the country's democracy.
We urge civil society organizations and women organizations to stand up and defend the cause of these suspensions. Madam Nelly Muti has taken a bold decision to ensure that sanity is restored in the House of August in our nation.
Vincent Piri for Camnet TV News, Lusaka.
The Christian Democratic Party, CDP, says the increased suspensions of members of parliament in the National Assembly indicate a lack of democracy and freedom of expression in the House. Speaking during a press conference in Choma Friday, Party President Daniel Pule says Parliament is a place where freedom of expression by MPs has always been the norm. Dr. Pule has cited the late Chikankata's MP Benny Mwinga, whom he says used to attack the then United National Independence Party UNIP Parliament but was never suspended from the House. Meanwhile, Dr. Pule has unveiled the party's Southern Province Committee in the drive to comply with requirements of Article 60, Clause 2 of the Constitution, which demands all political parties to have a national character. In other news, Information and Media Minister Cornelius Mwetwa says the presentation of the Access to Information ATI bill in Parliament Friday is an indication that President Hakainde Hichilema is walking the talk. Speaking in Lusaka today, shortly after presenting the bill to Parliament, Mr. Mwetwa says President Hichilema has since 2006 been consistent on the need to enact the Access to Information law, which previous governments were uncomfortable to talk about. He says President Hichilema is not afraid of being held accountable to the public and wants government to operate in a transparent manner. The chief government spokesperson explains that this is why the president did away with the law on defamation of the president immediately he was elected to office. He has assured the public that the long-awaited Public Order Act Amendment Bill will also be presented to Parliament as soon as the remaining processes are over.
We walk the talk. This is what the president promised during the campaigns way back as early as 2006, 2011, and 2021. And here we are now that he's President of the Republic. He has delivered an access to information bill to Parliament, something which many political parties had promised during campaign period, and once it came to implementation, they frowned upon such kind of laws for fear of the unknown. President HH is not afraid of being held accountable and transparent in the management of public affairs. That is why the first thing he did when he came into office was to repeal law relating to defamation of the president in order to enhance the democratic space within which citizens should be able to express themselves and freely speak about his administration. We are also aware that the public out there are awaiting the Public Order Act being brought to the House. I want to take this opportunity to indicate that the Public Order Act is within the processes that will soon see the same brought before the doorsteps of Parliament. There was just one or two clauses that was being refined and tuned through consultations with the stakeholders to ensure that the draft product that is brought to Parliament should not have a lot of areas that will attract much debate, given that once that bill comes to Parliament to amend the Public Order Act, we should be able to go through with it expeditiously and with dispatch.
Lusaka businessman Shadrach Kasanda and the 4 others expected to appear before the Lusaka High Court on the 13th of November 2023 for commencement of trial. This is in a matter where the 6 are accused of espionage. They are alleged to have on the 13th of August 2023 at Kenneth Kaunda Airport, whilst acting together, entered the said protective place for purposes that were prejudiced to the safety and interest of the public of Zambia. The accused were arrested in August 2023 in connection with a foul gold scam involving 5.7 million United States dollars, which was intercepted by the Drug Enforcement Commission officers at the KK Airport.
Incarcerated Lusaka businessman Shadrach Kasanda, who has been in custody since August 2023, has finally been cause listed and will appear in court on Monday the 13th of November. Kasanda is standing trial alongside Dr. Jim Belem, Mahogan Air Chief Executive Officer, Patrick Kawanwe, Pilot, Rapson Monga, Commanding Officer at KK Airport, and Francis Mateo, a State Security Officer, with 1 count of espionage. The 5 are expected to appear before the Lusaka High Court on the 13th of November 2023 for their possible commencement of trial. The charge brought against the accused stem from their activities on August 13, 2023, when they allegedly entered the Kenneth Kaunda International Airport with intentions deemed detrimental to the safety and interest of Zambia. During a joint investigation operation by authorities, considerable amount of things were seized from the aircraft at the airport, included pieces of suspected fake gold, collectively weighing 127.2 kilograms. In addition to the gold, authorities reportedly discovered weapons on board. The aircraft was also said to be stashed with a sum of more than $5 million in cash. The accused were earlier jointly charged with some Egyptians when the case was first taken to the subordinate court. However, the Director of Public Prosecution, DPP, entered a nolle prosequi in respect of 5 Egyptians and 1 Zambian. Now, Kasanda and 4 others will make their first appearance before the High Court on the 13th of November for their possible plea. Miriam Kaemba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Five Lusaka women who are accused of stealing a baby at the University Teaching Hospital in 2022 have been found with a case to answer. The accused, among them Precious Nkunika, a judiciary officer, were placed on defense Friday morning, the 10th of November 2023, following a court ruling that the state has established a prima facie case against them. It is alleged that Nkunika, a judiciary officer, and 4 other UTH employees stole a 6-day-old baby from Elina Lungu.
After appearing before the Lusaka subordinate court for almost a year on allegation that they stole a baby at the University Teaching Hospital, 5 women of Lusaka have been found with a case to answer. The 5, among them Precious Nkunika, a judiciary officer, were this morning, the 10th of November 2023, placed on defense after Lusaka magistrate Crispin Hampungani ruled that the state has established a prima facie against them. Meanwhile, Nkunika and 1 of the accused have opted to remain silent, while the remaining 3 accused will give sworn evidence. According to court records, allegations before court are that Precious Nkunika, a judiciary officer, Emily Ho, Rebecca Mkandawire, Nelly Kasolo, and Grace Masisika allegedly conveyed and stole a baby from its mother, Elina Lungu. The state has slapped them with the charge of child stealing, contrary to the laws of Zambia. A statement issued by the police indicated that on the 7th of May 2022, the infant's mother, Elina Lungu, was admitted at UTH immediately after giving birth. It is alleged that the 3 UTH employees took advantage of the situation and stole the baby in order to replace it with the child that Precious Nkunika, the judiciary officer, had lost during her delivery. The accused have until January 10, 2024 to prepare their defense. Miriam Kaemba, reporting for Camnet TV News. The accused have until January 10, 2024 to prepare their defense. Miriam Kaemba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Former Road Transport and Safety Agency RATSA Chief Executive Officer Zinda Basoko has pleaded not guilty to allegations of forging a national registration card. Mr. Soko is jointly charged with 2 Ugandan nationals on allegation of forgery, altering a false document, and possession of property believed to have been stolen or unlawfully obtained. They are alleged to have forged an NRC purporting to show that it was genuinely issued by Department of National Registration, Passport and Citizenship in Lusaka, when in fact not. In this matter, Mr. Soko and the 2 foreign nationals are accused of forging a national registration card number bearing the names of John Tembo, who is deceased, and a Zambian passport in the same names he obtained for a Ugandan man, Kisambara Kelvin Smith. You're watching the main news on Camnet TV with me, Sylvia Zulu. Do join me with more news after this break.
potatoes, the unsung heroes of flavor. From crispy chips to creamy mash, potatoes are the versatile superstars of your kitchen. Grown with love by our dedicated workforce drawn from around the community of Palavana. Savenda Farm's commitment is to see to it that we have potatoes that are grown right, healthy, big and tasty. For that quick fix or big celebration or that meal that brings family together, top chefs rely on the Savenda potato to create culinary masterpieces. And for others, it's that icebreaker to a delightful conversation. So, embrace the magic of Savenda potatoes. They're not just a side dish, they're the heart and soul of your kitchen. Savenda, save nations, develop Africa.
Introducing Darren B, a touch of class. Are you looking for the perfect place to elevate your style and glam up? Look no further. Darren B Touch of Class is your one-stop destination for hair and makeup transformation. Walk into Darren B and walk out feeling like a star. Your transformation starts here. Call us on 0772 870 588 or WhatsApp on 0972 049 213 to book your appointment today. Payments are made via mobile money or point-of-sale machine. Strictly no cash payments. We are located along Mossy Road in Ibex Hill, 4th close on the left after Kalikiliki Police Post. At Darren B, we pride ourselves on our team of dedicated and trained personnel ready to pamper both women and children. Darren B is open 7 days a week from 0720 hours to 1740 hours. From trendy hairstyles and stylish makeovers to flawless makeup, we do it all. Darren B, a touch of class.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. RenGlow, your smart irrigation partner.
In a world full of hatred, bitterness, revenge, and uncertainties, should there be a separation between the church and politics? Tune in to Camnet television this coming Friday at 20:45 hours for biblical truth and the church position on the matter.
If our politicians just came and we took photos, people do think because they attended, there was reconciliation when there was no heart-to-heart sort of koinonia feeling where you really speak to each other, because that's what we need.
Camnet television, not just another channel.
Thank you so much for staying with us. We now continue with more news. The Zambia National Women's Lobby has called for the rethink of strategies in the fight against gender-based violence in the country. Speaking in an interview with Camnet News, Organization Information Officer Victoria Piri notes that GBV cases have continued to increase as reported by the Zambia Police Service quarterly statistics and fears that it may not be a true reflection obtaining on the ground as some cases go unreported. Ms. Piri says it is in the light of such ever-increasing statistics of GBV that the women movement has continued to call on government to reintroduce the Ministry of Gender to have a targeted and robust gender mainstreaming. According to the 2023 GBV statistics, cases increased by 1,002 as compared to the same period in 2022.
Several interventions continue to be targeted towards the fight against gender-based violence, GBV, in Zambia. However, statistics continue to reveal a surge in cases of GBV in the country. According to the Zambia Police Service 2023 third quarter statistics, There is an increase of cases as compared to the same period in 2022 by 1,002 cases, rising from 6,303 to 7,305 cases recorded in 2023, representing a 15.9% rise. Speaking in an interview with Camnet News, Zambia National Women's Lobby (ZNLW) has called for an evaluation of strategies being used to address GBV in the country.
All statistics have indicated that there has been an increase in reported cases, which is quite unfortunate, because we would want to believe that the interventions that are being put in place in terms of sensitization in the communities would bring the number of cases to reduce, but that has not happened. So it is telling, and also is telling us to re-evaluate the interventions that are currently there.
Ms. Piri therefore says it is for this reason that the women movement continue to implore government to reinstate the Ministry of Gender for the country to have a robust approach on gender mainstreaming issues.
The removal of the Ministry of Gender is very clear. I think the women's movement has been very categorical on this issue, and we have called for the reinstatement of the ministry, because the gender machinery in its current form is inadequate to address the many challenges that women are facing, is inadequate to drive the process of achieving gender equality and meeting the national targets that we have set for ourselves.
For Camnet TV News, Afias Kaptula, Lusaka.
Government says it appreciates efforts by various stakeholders who are providing early childhood and foundation education in the country. Speaking when he officiated at the 8th graduation ceremony for Overhill School in Lusaka Friday morning, Ministry of Education Permanent Secretary Technical Services Jobo Kamoko says government is aware of the importance of early childhood and primary school education. Mr. Kamoko, however, says government alone cannot manage to provide the service, and was quick to mention that the efforts by the private sector is highly appreciated. He says early childhood education provides the foundation for learners and is cardinal to their progression. The minister says government places great importance on education, as evidenced by the introduction of free education.
Early childhood education is a crucial stepping stone in a child's academic journey. It lays the foundation for their future academic and personal growth. Government of the Republic of Zambia is cognizant to this fact and is doing everything possible to ensure that it partners with various stakeholders in providing the service. Ministry of Education Permanent Secretary Joel Kamoko says government appreciates the efforts by various stakeholders in the sector in providing early childhood education. Mr. Kamoko said this in a speech read on his behalf by Father Anthony Walyatambatamba, who is the Assistant Director Teacher Education, during a graduation ceremony at Overhill School in Lusaka.
I'd like to acknowledge your hard work to enhance and supplement government's effort in pursuit to the provision of quality education for all children. Your unprecedented efforts towards contribution of education to our diverse community is remarkable, and for that we are proud of you. Home congratulations to the graduates who have gathered here today and successfully completed their early childhood, that is preschool level, and primary education, that is grade 7 level.
And speaking at the same event, Overhill School head teacher Mary Mbewe urged parents to take keen interest in the academic development of their children.
Our encouragement to parents and guardians is that please continue supporting your school by doing the following: encouraging our children to attend classes regularly if there is nothing stopping them. We further want to encourage parents to check the books of the children and also encourage and help them to do their homework and ensure that you sign the homework. I want to appreciate you, our dearest parents, guardians, on the efforts you are putting in to ensure that our children are in school on time, which has made the school produce very good results at grade 7. I further want to encourage all of us, parents, guardians, to continue ensuring that our children are in school as stipulated school policy, as punctuality has a positive impact on the future of every child.
Meanwhile, a parent representative, Frank Nyirenda, thanked the school for the work they are doing, adding that for the past 19 years, the school has been producing good results.
Today, the school has gathered us all here to prove to all of us the huge responsibility they have and the effort they have put in to see our children at the level they are, as they proceed further to grade 1 and 8 respectively. Therefore, it is left to all of us as parents and guardians to also prove to this institution that we truly mean well to both our children and the school.
And some of the graduating students are pledged to continue working hard even as they advance in their education.
We have come a long way in our journey, indeed, and it's now time for us to move a bigger fight, which is secondary school. The lessons were learned in class will surely help us get through the next stage, but we also need to remember to retain the things we have learned, other than the academic stuff, which are courage, good behavior, and hard work.
Reporting for Camnet TV News, my name is Mako Kwakozi in Lusaka.
The 9th Africa Think Tank Summit hosted by Zambia has officially closed with a call for the private sector to start funding research institutes. African Network of Agriculture Policy Research Institutes and NAPRI Executive Director Nalishewo Mebelo says this will help African governments to make research-backed policies that will promote free Africa trade. And African Capacity Building Foundation Executive Secretary Mamadou Beteya says there is need to prioritize trade as the engine of development. The summit was being held under the theme Linking Evidence, Policies and Practice to Contribute to the Implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement.
This event was hosted by the government of the Republic of Zambia through the Ministry of Commerce, Trade and Industry in partnership with the African Capacity Building Foundation. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we have spent the last 3 days deliberating on a topic that clearly reveals the significance of the AFCFTA to Africa's socio-economic advancement. So today I am commanding the Lusaka Chamber of Commerce and its members to begin to fund research institutions. It is a command because the work that research institutions will do to inform policies will be to enable the environment for you to benefit from the Africa Continental Free Trade Area Agreement.
Key takeaways from this summit, I think one thing that we have seen is that it is telling us that as think tanks and as government, we need to work hand in hand with think tanks in order to generate evidence-based policies that will be able to support Africa trade, particularly with the issue to do with the Africa Free Continental Free Trade Area, AFCFTA. So it is important that government take a leaf from what we have actually, this summit has impacted on, and we can actually get the beneficial economic dividends in the long run.
Central Province Minister Princess Kasune has flagged off the distribution of farming inputs in Kabwe district of Central Province. Ms. Kasune says Central Province has a total allocation of 162,711 farmers who are all expected to redeem their farming inputs on time. The minister added that so far, 98% of farmers have already deposited their farmer contribution of 400 kwacha.
Scores of farmers gathered to witness the flagship of farming input distribution under the Farmer Input Support Program in Kabwe district of Central Province. Central Province Minister Princess Kasune reveals the input catalogue and the input value. The minister further reminded officers in the Ministry of Agriculture to follow the FISIP Code of Conduct during implementation of the program.
The inputs available on the category on the catalogue range from fertilizer, both D and urea, maize seed, soybeans, sorghum, cowpeas, groundnuts, sunflower, rice, and beans. The fixed value for each farmer's voucher is approximately worth 6,900. Allow me to remind our officers, therefore, to follow the FISIP Code and Conduct during the implementation of the program.
Central Province Permanent Secretary Miuna Mwanakampwe also sent a warning to officers in the Ministry of Agriculture.
Ngani twasanga mwatatiko kushembuto pantulesa kumulwa lero lesha tukeba bapako abana badako balya na bakapokola bakamikate ero tukamironge tatule fwaya umuntu lese ndembuto wa swiper ero wapo kuswiper wayamukushisha fertilizer.
And Kabwe District Commissioner Lennox Shimwambwa has praised his government for the timely distribution of farming inputs.
For Camnet district, we are talking about 3,114 tons. That is for both D and urea. In terms of numbers, it's slightly over 120,000 bags. And I want to believe that here where we are and at Murungushi, those quantities are there. So at least I want to confirm for Kabwe District Honorable Minister that this group you see and those that are yet to come, the inputs are there. But to thank His Excellency, the Republican President, for ensuring that this program is running timely.
Farmers are elated by this gesture.
Mwebuteko chomwachita kulipo kwema farmers twatotela pantu tatwale chetekela ukuthi mkwaye kuti twambo okukwata ama inputs pali noshita apo ba minister na mwaya kuli bakateka mufile mwaya beba tawa ama farmers na basekela kabili bali abatemwa.
It was a joyful moment for both the minister and indeed the farmers. Helen Witte reporting from Kabwe, Central Province.
We now take our last set of commercials. I will be back with the rest of the news after the break.
Introducing Darren B, a touch of class. Are you looking for the perfect place to elevate your style and glam up? Look no further. Darren B Touch of Class is your one-stop destination for hair and makeup transformation. Walk into Darren B and walk out feeling like a star. Your transformation starts here. Call us on 0772 870 588 or WhatsApp on 0972 049 213 to book your appointment today. Payments are made via mobile money or point-of-sale machine. Strictly no cash payments. We are located along Mossy Road in Ibex Hill, fourth close on the left after Kalikiliki Police Post. At Darren B, we pride ourselves on our team of dedicated and trained personnel ready to pamper both women and children. Darren B is open 7 days a week from 0720 hours to 1740 hours. From trendy hairstyles and stylish makeovers to flawless makeup, we do it all. Darren B, a touch of class.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. RenGlow, your smart irrigation partner.
In a world full of hatred, bitterness, revenge, and uncertainties, should there be a separation between the church and politics? Tune in to Camnet Television this coming Friday at 20:45 hours for biblical truth and the church position on the matter.
If our politicians just came and we took photos, people do think because they attended, there was reconciliation when there was no heart-to-heart sort of koinonia feeling where you really speak to each other, because that's what we need.
Camnet Television, not just another channel.
Thank you for still staying with us. And now in international news, Italy's newest migration deal has been met with opposition from non-profit groups and questions from Albanian media. Italian Premier Giorgia Meloni unveiled Monday, November 6th, a plan to send migrants temporarily to its neighbor across the Adriatic Sea as she met with her Albanian counterpart in Rome. Thousands of migrants will be sent to Albania while their asylum bids are being processed. The agreement consists in the fact that Albania will give Italy the opportunity to use some areas of Albanian territory in which Italy can create at its own expense under its jurisdiction 2 structures where it can set up centers for the management of illegal migrants. Here's a roundup of international news.
Italy's newest migration deal has been met with opposition from non-profit groups and questions from Albanian media. The Italian premier unveiled Monday a plan to send migrants to its neighbor across the Adriatic Sea as she met with her counterpart. Thousands of migrants arriving illegally in Italy will be sent to Albania while their asylum bids are processed. The agreement consists in the fact that Albania will give Italy the opportunity to use some areas of Albanian territory in which Italy can create at its own expense under its jurisdiction 2 structures where it can set up centers for the management of illegal migrants.
Per la gestione dei migranti illegali.
The launch of the centers has been set for spring 2024. Officially, 145,000 migrants have arrived on Italy's shores since the start of the year, up from 88,000 during the same period last year. NGOs say dispositions of the agreement are illegal, especially as Albania is not an EU country. Once people are rescued at sea by Italian ships, we are talking about the ships of the Coast Guard, the Navy, the Finance Guard. The moment these people are rescued by these ships, they are technically on Italian territory. When they disembark in Albania, we are already talking about an act that goes against international law, but also against European law. The question of who will handle the deportation of rejected applicants remains unclear. A priest who serves as chaplain at a non-profit rescue group fears beyond the legal concerns there are solidarity and ethical concerns. Above all, it wants their humanity, because people rescued by ships from one country then are deported to another that is outside of the European Union and put inside these centers. It risks becoming something that really destroys their and also our humanity. Children and pregnant women will be excluded from the plan. With a large number of arrivals and limited number of initial asylum processing centers, Italy's facilities are overcrowded. Before Albania, the coastal European nation sought more solidarity, mainly in vain, from fellow EU nations.
This is the aftermath of torrential rains that have hit northeastern Kenya in the last few days. Towns and villages are flooded. Scores of people have lost their homes. Many have moved to higher ground. The rain is still pounding and they could soon be forced to move again. Floodwaters across the country have killed more than a dozen people.
This water has affected us. Our houses have been damaged. Our crops have been washed away. Our livestock is gone.
Scientists say climate change is causing more intense and frequent extreme weather. The region is coming out of its worst drought in 40 years. Thousands of people, livestock and wildlife have died during 4 failed rain seasons.
There is an urgent need for humanitarian support because there are displacement, there are areas which are cut off, and this is the rain that has rained all over the region.
People in neighboring Somalia have also died. About 300,000 are estimated to have fled their homes. Ethiopia and Uganda have recorded unusually heavy rains. Some experts say these are effects of the El Nino weather phenomenon created as seas warm, and people should brace themselves for more rain. Catherine Soy, Al Jazeera.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.
And now in sports news, Alexander Usyk spoke exclusively to SNTV on Thursday, looking ahead to his rescheduled world heavyweight unification bout against Tyson Fury. Unbeaten Ukrainian Usyk, who holds the IBF, WBO plus IBO belts, had been due to fight WBC champion Fury in Saudi Arabia on 23rd of December, but the bout has been rescheduled to take place in February following the BRITON's recent battle with Francis Ngannou. Former UFC heavyweight champion Ngannou wasn't expected to give Fury too tough a time in what was the Cameroonian's first boxing match, but the Guy's King was knocked down in the 3rd round and was taken the distance before winning on a split decision. After seeing their man go precisely close to losing his unbeaten record, Fury's team contacted Usyk to postpone the December fight, although an exact date in February has yet to be confirmed.
Alexander Usyk had been hoping to face Tyson Fury this December, but that now appears to be on the cards for February next year. The unbeaten Ukrainian had been due to fight the WBC champion Fury in Saudi Arabia, but the bout was rescheduled following the Britain's recent battle with Francis Ngannou. Yes, I am satisfied. I want this to work out. I want this fight to happen. We were supposed to fight on December 23rd, but we saw what happened. But the fact that it is postponed is no problem to me. I am satisfied. After Fury's struggles in that fight, his team contacted Usyk to postpone the December bout, although an exact date in February is yet to be confirmed.
The baddest man on the planet.
I think that Tyson Fury underestimated Francis Ngannou, and Ngannou did a good job in the gym and then showed a good level on the ring. Very few people believed in Ngannou. Even when I was asked about him, I replied that he is not enough. Usyk, who holds the IBF, WBO plus IBO belts, possesses an unblemished 21-0 record, while Tyson Fury has fought 35 times with 34 wins, no losses and 1 draw.
We've come to the end of our main news, but before I go, here are the top stories that made headlines in our news tonight. The Tobacco Control Consortium pickets Parliament to enact the Tobacco Control Bill. Divergent views continue to emerge over the suspension of 17 parliamentarians. Courts finds 5 women accused of stealing a baby with a case to answer. In international news, trial over children's cough syrup deaths resume in the Gambia. And in sports news, USYK hoping for fight with Fury in February, says the BRITON underestimated NGANNOU. We now look at our Camnet verse of the day, coming from the book of Romans 9, verse 10. If you declare with your mouth Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Sylvia Zulu. Good night and God bless you.